Hi, class. During our time together, we went over quite a few topics regarding Latin America, and throughout the course, I kept going back from our discussion posts to human rights and the injustice and inhumanity darker colored citizens such as mulattoes and mestizos, women and children, the indigenous, and those living in poverty are experiencing in Latin America today. We learned that these different demographic groups have little to no job opportunities and basic health care, especially for women, little value placed on education, been victims of discrimination, exploitation, and terrorism, a low number of union groups, and an uneven income distribution. I think the reason why these topics resonated with me the most is because, as a minority myself, I can relate to a certain extent of what some minority groups in Latin America face. And so, the ultimate question that I'd like to ask is how can we initiate reforms within corrupt Latin American governments and demand equal rights and opportunities for all citizens? I can't say that there are concrete answers to address this issue, but I think the absolute first step towards basic human rights in Latin America is focusing on placing an importance in education, and those including, but not limited to, children, women, the poor, and minorities or indigenous peoples, so that they can recognize their rights as citizens. Terry from our Module 6 discussion forum made a great point that positive change for the people in South and Central American governments would be unlikely, especially when uneducated citizens feel little to no self worth or value. I'm embarrassed to say that I've been completely uneducated and unaware of Latin American history and culture, and perceived Latin America differently before I took this course. I didn't realize that Latin America to this day carries a huge burden of a very complicated history. I wasn't aware that racism even existed in Latin America and that many Latinos carry African descent. I also previously believed that Latin America was doing better economically and sociopolitically than other developing nations, but I learned that more than a fifth of Latinos live under $2 a day. Latin Americans have really come a long way, especially since colonialism, and it amazes me that these people were able to form their own distinct identities and cultures after gaining independence from European nations. However, I think we as a class can all agree that they still have a long way to go in terms of closing the gap on inequality and getting rid of the oppression that continues to persist within many Latin American cultures today.